Okay, so I am dealing with a return line that is busted. It is rotted, and a lot of something interesting here. Here's part of the line right here. You can see how cracked it is. It was leaking. It wouldn't leak on a couple gallons, but when you fill the tank up half full, it would leak just sitting. So one thing I was thinking of when ordering new fuel lines is either going with Len, who is really well known to have aftermarket lines that he makes. A little bit more expensive than the OE lines, but people like them because they're two-piece. Because if you look, you don't really have a lot of room. You have this line, which is the pressure line, and this line, which is the return line, which I took apart. I removed the crimped. Let me see if I cut the crimped end. Basically, cut the crimped end on each side. That one going into the car through the tunnel, you don't really have much room, but this is kind of a quick fix. The lines going through the tunnel are like a nylon plastic, and they generally don't rot the same as the ones outside the car underneath here. There's a shield here under. This is the fuel pump. This is an 82 911 SC coupe. It's the same for the Targa. And so the thing is you know, this line outside, I don't know if it's because of where, you know, it's outside conditions, the cold. This is rubber. Where it connects, there's a connector right here, if you could see it. That goes into like a plastic polyamide line or a nylon. I'm not sure what it is, but that goes all the way through the tunnel through the back. That line generally always stays in pretty good condition. I don't know if it's because it's inside the car and it doesn't see the weather, climate, or if it's just because it's a different material. But many people do what I'm doing here is they basically cut off the, and this has already had it on the pressure side where the banjo is going to, because if you look at this, this is not a factory. And somebody used one of those clamps right here where you have to use the tool. I had to order one of those. I'm going to keep that just in case, but I'm going to buy the fuel injection clamps today just to get it running. But the thing is that, you know, Len's kits are nice, but he's getting probably to the point where he's not going to be making them anymore. And the thing is with the factory OE lines, which are still available, the supply and pressure fuel line, is you can still do what I did here, which is common on Pelican forums and other forums, is you can cut. Now, it seems sacrilege doing it to a brand new lines that you just got out of package, but you can cut these lines and you can make them two-piece, because really doing this, all this is a factory compressed clamp. They do it, you know, it's done at the factory. And what you do here is if you take that clamp off, you have this, and also this end right here, which is, I don't know if you can see it, it's like the other end of this. It looks like it's like a barb. And if you put a fuel line over there with a proper clamp, you could use the one where you crimp it, or you use fuel injection clamps. You don't use these style of like banjo clamps, where they kind of have the whole, you know, where you screw them in. Those are not good clamps. You either get fuel injection grade or you get the one-time use clamps. And you can cut those. Like I said, it's going to feel like sacrilege because you just, and you know, the return line is actually more expensive on the older cool cars. I think it's like over $220 for a return line. You can find them. The fuel line's actually about $140 you can get, but you can do the same thing because people like Len's set up, because his system is a little bit easier because you got the lines going through the tunnel, and then you screw in the connection. Well, you'd be basically doing the same if you cut the new lines and clamped them together, and then you can do a repair if you needed to down the road. So, you know, both those lines are about I priced them out. They're about $250, $300 less than Len's. Not trying to say anything negative about Len's lines, but he might just be getting to the point where he's, you know, I found him through old forum posts going back to 2000, So he may be getting to the point where he's no longer doing that for, maybe he's retiring from it. I'm not sure. But like I said, you could take the factory OE lines you order from Porsche or through like Pelican or Auto House AZ. You can take those lines, you can cut the crimped ends, again like this, the OE crimped ends, and then you'll have this where you might have to go buy new high PSI. I think it's 309 is the spec for it, 300 PSI burst fuel injection rated. Or if you can reuse the line, after you cut it, but it might be too short, but you can, reuse the line, and you can make two-piece lines. So if you had a leak, it's easier to deal with changing instead of having to go through and deal with the rigmarole. It makes it easier to access. Just a thought. As these cars get older, we're looking for better ways to service them. Okay, thanks.